difference that helped him win last year, but a rule is a rule, and they do that to keep the cost down. Tungsten so very expensive.
And we mentioned the 31 of Grissom and the 18 of Robbins making contact a little while ago. There they run on the racetrack. Hunter Robbins, your pole sitter, back to 9th, Grissom running 10th.
And if you're Robbins, you want to just stick around the top 10, top 12 right now as we take a look at our top 10 rundown with 80 laps complete. Daniel Hemrick, of course, leading the way and strong on these long runs today. John Hunter Nemechek in second. Augie Grill, Jeff Chiquette. Very good run from somewhat deep in the field, and Eric Jones finds himself in the top 5.
Johanna Long, Chase Elliott, Bubba Pollard, Hunter Robbins, and Kyle Grissom round out your top 10, 80 laps into this 300-lap race.
Been able to single out the first half of our field or so. I know a lot of drivers will start getting nervous 10, 15 laps into the run deep in the pack as they are threatened to go a lap down.
Some people on top of the pit box watching their drivers here today, taking times, watching to see how things pan out. Scotty Ellis in the 83, the 9 of Mark Krause. Trying to figure out exactly where that is right now on the racetrack, because we remember Scotty Ellis had a great run in qualifying, and he's all the way back to 24th.
He made a pit stop, and that's probably why he's so deep in the field, but he's starting to make his way back through on the low lane. So Ellis working forward, DJ Vanderlei moving over. Here's Logan Boyette coming to the low side, and you see Krause looking for a lane, and he'll find one. Vanderlei caught in the outside groove.
I think Vanderlei is doing a smart thing right now and just hanging there, not doing anything to squeeze anybody and get into trouble. Everybody knows this is a survival of the fittest race, and you got to be there at the end to have a chance to win it. Clay Rogers in the number 2 there, a former Snowball Derby winner.
Brian Hoare, driver from Vermont, first driver from Vermont to ever start in a Snowball Derby.
That's incredible. Did you count up how many states represented today?
11 states represented in the Derby.
Absolutely incredible. And like we said, Brian Hoare in that 37, an 8-time American-Canadian Tour winner. Tom Curley, the ACT promoter, is actually here in the grandstands today watching the Snowball Derby as we continue to watch the 26 of Preston Peltier and the 57 of Cole Tim battle on the racetrack.
Preston Peltier with one of those cool paint schemes for the Snowball Derby as we go back toward the front of the field. Second and third place, John Hunter Nemechek and Augie Grill.
Augie Grill has not had success since he last won this race back in, I believe, was it 2008, 2009?
It's been before I started coming to the Snowball Derby.
Kyle Busch won 2009. It must have been 2008. And since then, he has not finished better than 28th.
Yes, 07 and 08, the 2 wins for Augie Grill. See Grill making a move, looking to the low lane of John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek getting a great run off of turn 4. It's the 112 of Grill getting the good runs into the corner. So he gives up a little coming out, but gains a little going in.
Yeah, you can see 2 distinctively different lines by both of those drivers and how they're driving into the corner, like you said. So, hey, it's driver preference. John Hunter Nemechek known to be pretty smooth behind the wheel of that race car.
Augie Grill got up on the wheel in qualifying for the Snowflake last night. Started from the pole, led a lot of laps, but faded just enough at the end where he fell back into the field, just somewhat unable to pick up the victory, and probably used some of that experience from last night's race to what he wanted to do with his car on the long runs here today. We've completed 92 laps, closing on the 1/3 mark of this race already in second and third. One of the tightest battles. You just know that Augie Grill is going to make that move soon. On the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek, it's just a matter of time, but Nemechek always able to pull away using that momentum, gets on the gas a little bit sooner than Augie Grill coming off the turn.
Just want to go over where some of your favorite drivers might be running outside the top 10. 11th, Chad Finley, Donnie Wilson, 12th. Look at that shot there in turn number 4. Just shows you the speed and the tenacity of all these race car drivers around this racetrack.
How about Grant Enfinger? He's running 13th. 13th doesn't sound that great, but when you look at where he started, 29th position, Grant Enfinger, he's moving forward.
Look at that shot there. That's some fast race cars here on a half-mile facility in the panhandle of Florida. Look at that rough racetrack. But a lot of people say, hey, Tim Bryant, why don't you pave this joint?
No.
A lot of people say, no way. This is really a racy type racetrack, and they should just leave it alone. All those shells that they used in the pavement here make for a special, agreement between the tire and the pavement here. And sometimes when that grip goes away, that's when the driver gets really into it, and it proves who is the best driver.
Unless there are potholes around this track, don't pave it.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. Another great shot from our flag stand here today. Look at that speed coming down the front stretch.
Great speed. See a few battles going on as they fly by. Chase Elliott was one of those trying to move up. He's up in our top 5 now, so Chase Elliott on the move forward. Marching forward is Chase Elliott. Derek Griffin.
A battle for 15th, actually 14th. Griffin gets by Casey Smith now for 14th. 15th is Casey Smith. But here comes the 5 of Dalton Sargent as well, and he will move by the 99 to move himself into the top 15.
He's picked up 10 spots, Bob. Dalton Sargent, pretty good run today for the Waters team. This time, we're going to have 100 laps complete. Can you believe it already? This race flying by, just a couple of cautions over the first 100, and leading at the lap 100 mark will be the 98 of Daniel Hemrick. He's checked out on our second and third place cars. We've seen a lot of them, John Hunter Nemechek and Augie Grill early on.
Here's what I want to do, guys. For everybody at home, I want to show the difference between first and second. I want to show that difference. There's your top 10 there, and there's the battle for second. As soon as this battle goes away, we will show you the distance, but there goes Augie Grill into second. Now I want our cameras to pick up the leader, which is Daniel Hemrick. And then we're going to show you the distance between that and this battle right there, which is actually pretty darn good. Chase Elliott also getting into the fray here. Elliott on the inside of John Hunter Nemechek. The battle within the top 5, that's a battle for third.
And Chase Elliott's car all of a sudden looks like a big-time contender. We saw him earlier in this race get sideways coming off the corner, but it's hooked up now.
Here's Hemrick, stop, and then there is second, third, and fourth. So quite the advantage for Daniel Hemrick, and he got slowed down just a little bit recently while in lap traffic.
Close to a straightaway, a little over a half straightaway lead for Daniel Hemrick, and Chase Elliott's picked up another spot. He's up to third.
Elliott, so happy to be here. He told me, I believe it was back in September, that he was going to run the Snowball Derby and come back to this race. He didn't think it could be done. And then when I got to Phoenix, he goes, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I got a lot of duties that I got to take care of for my career. And he was just excited to be able to get the job done, get a car, and come back here and race.
We watched Chase Elliott compete against late model drivers in big shows for, it seemed like, 5 or 6 years as a young kid. And it was just a matter of like, man, he's wasting his time here. He needs to be in the top ranks of NASCAR. He got there, and he's shown that he's definitely deserving winning the Nationwide Series Championship this year. He's going to win a lot of races, a lot on TV the next number of years.
Absolutely. 24th is the 0. Corey LaJoie just in front of that. The 11 and the 29 to battle on the racetrack. Anderson Bowen on the inside. Logan Boyette on the outside. They are running 21st and 22nd. Excuse me, 22nd and 23rd.
Anderson Bowen using a provisional to make the show today as he gets in and spin. Augie Grill coming off of turn 4.
Oh,
right
boy.
on our front straightaway. Augie Grill has gone around. Look out. Car's still going at him. Spotters trying to maneuver their drivers. Dalton Sargent, Garrett Jones just able to squeeze by. Scary moment.
That was. And also Hunter Robbins also involved there, I think, in the aftermath of that incident. So we'll have to find out what happened to Augie Grill.
Derek Griffin.
Oh, bad break for him. Such a great qualifying effort just to get into the Snowball Derby.
So caution out for a third time today, 107 in, and there's a damaged car. It's the 95 of Griffin. As he climbs from behind the wheel, and you can see damage on almost every corner of that race car. Derek Griffin making his third Snowball Derby start here at Five Flags Speedway.
Tough day for Derek Griffin, but we are proud to be with you on 51 TV. Understand a couple of technical difficulties to start the broadcast, but that's because so many people came to watch this race here today. We'll be back in just a moment.
At the Track Communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
We're going to see pit stops pretty soon, and here they come. A lot of cars pulled to the inside, including Daniel Hemrick, your leader, Chase Elliott, John Hunter Nemechek, and a host of others will be coming down pit road. Jeff Jaquette, the 4th car line. This is time to take on some tires, to make a chassis adjustment. I don't know if Hemrick really needs to adjust anything right now.
Or Chase Elliott at this point.
Absolutely. They come down pit road, and we'll see what adjustments they make. Wow, look at that. Daniel Hemrick moves his car onto pit road. Let's go to Derek Pernasiglio.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And Jeff Choquette brings the Adrian Carriers number 29 in. I talked to the crew chief, asked them what was going on with the race car. They said the car's a little loose, but they still want to make a few adjustments on it. They want to figure it out. They're going to do a 4-tire change and 2 full cans of fuel. Now we're going to go to Jana Wimmer.
The 98 machine, no other adjustments. He is your current leader in the Snowball Derby.
Wow, look at the bottleneck coming off of pit road there. A lot of adjustments, a lot of tire changes. Logan Boyette, Casey Smith on pit road. You see Kyle Grissom right there in the 31. People backing out of their pit stalls as well. Everybody just jammed into that pit road. Corey LaJoy in the 07 as well. Garrett Jones in the 88, that blue car. Cole Tim in the 57. You have Chad Finley in the 42. These guys not necessarily used to making pit stops because they run about 100 to 150 laps.
And you could really see the cars that were going to be good on long runs today. I think Hemrick's was great, and I think Chase Elliott's may have been even better on the last 10 laps or so of that run as he came out of nowhere after running back around the tail end of the top 10 for a good while. So Johanna Long, good chance. She was wanting a pit stop. Her car was not good on the long run today.
She faded just a little bit, so strong early in this race, led a bunch of laps, but right now she's come in for pit road and made some adjustments. We'll see how she is. Grant Enfinger, by the way, had started 28th, and he was all the way up to the top 10 when that caution flew. So that was pretty interesting to watch that run by the number 90 car.
Yeah, very good is Grant Enfinger in this show. We've seen him contend looking for the big Snowball Derby victory, and what a season it was for Grant Enfinger.
Yes, definitely. He set the world on fire with a handful of wins in the ARCA Racing Series. Thought he was going to be the championship favorite, but fell just short to Mason Mitchell. Let's go down to Jana Wimmer.
Yeah, guys, I just talked to Augie Grill's crew. They said he was just loose and he lost it. He came down pit road. They made a track bar adjustment. They're hoping it tightens him up a little bit. He started 4th in the Snowball Derby, and he's looking to get back out there, tighten that car up, and march towards the front.
Thank you, Jana. Great job on pit road so far today. We hope you're enjoying on 51 TV. This is fun, honestly, to be able to call this race and have a great time here today. I can't tell you, just because I've been here for 14 years, to be able to come on the air today, have that pre-race show we did, I got goosebumps because it's such a blessing for the entire Speed 51 family. We've worked hard for this, and we thank you to everybody who has helped make this possible, and certainly everybody that's watching as well.
Getting a lot of positive comments. Had that little blip earlier in the show because so many got on all at the same time, and everybody able to get logged back in, and they're watching right now. Lap 113 going on the board this time by.
So you mentioned Scotty Ellis pitted earlier. He had a great qualifying effort. Qualified 5th for this event. He's now the leader in that 83 machine, a former Bubba Pollard race car, and that's quite possibly why he's so good around this racetrack.
Oh, I think it's made a huge difference for Scotty Ellis as he's been outstanding all week. We've seen him at the top of the speed charts in practice. Very good in qualifying, found himself in the top 10, and now Ellis, yes, he's the leader, the 47th running of the Snowball Derby. You see another driver that's been mired deep in the field because of a bad starting spot, struggled in qualifying, Anderson Bowen in the 29.
This is interesting for Scotty Ellis. You know, he's doing so well here in the top super late model race in the country. In his only other start in super late model competition this year, he finished 14th at the World Crown at Gresham Motorsports Park in Georgia.
And he's a Derby rookie. It's crazy when you think about it. First ever Snowball Derby start, and he is a threat, no question. It just all depends on how the pit crew does today, but his strategy seems to be paying off early.
And he's pretty intimidating. He's a big boy.
He
climbed onto that driver's stage, and I'm like, I do not want to go toe-to-toe with this guy.
Already seen some tempers flare in the pits, and hopefully for Ellis that doesn't have to happen today because he's had a great week so far and looking to finish it off.
Just want to mention this, too, because this is interesting. We've seen Daniel Hemrick, Johanna Long, lead laps. Scotty Ellis, now the leader here. Eric Jones won this race 1 year ago without leading a single lap. Isn't that incredible? Got the win.
Incredible.
Because Chase Elliott was DQ'd, and he was awarded the victory for finishing second after that DQ.
Eric Jones has been quiet in this race so far. You know, we haven't seen a lot. I think he might be just pacing himself at this point. Saw him move up a little bit, but right now, as quiet as he's been, I think we see him right there coming into the screen, third spot currently for Jones.
Yeah, and I think that was a planned maneuver. I know Kyle Busch is watching today, and hopefully he's enjoying the 51 TV coverage of all of the race cars on the racetrack, but I know they wanted to bide their time. They didn't want to go the aggressive route and lead a ton of laps, and there is Jones right there. By the way, no driver has ever won 3 consecutive snowball derbies. He's trying to do it today.
He's got a legit shot. I'm sure the 51 of Eric Jones can get there at the end. In fact, he's right now putting himself in good position. His crew will be very good throughout the day. No doubt about it for that 51 of Jones. The Byron, Michigan driver who we will see full-time in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in 2015.
By the way, got a report. Derek Griffin has actually been towed to the infield out of the car and pretty darn frustrated. The kid from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Took a lot of effort to get him here. He helps the Quinlan team as well. The Grant Quinlan effort last night, they also had some bad luck, got caught up in a crash.
1 to go until we go green flag racing once again here at Five Flags Speedway. Want to say thank you to PFC Brakes and, of course, Joe's Racing Products that made today's broadcast on Speed51.com with 51 TV possible. So thank you very much for coming on board and providing us the opportunity to present to you the Snowball Derby.
Preparing for a restart. The Alan Turner pace car leading the field around the Five Flags Speedway, and you see double file formation. Ellis has chosen the bottom, which is place to be so far today. Sometimes you see that outside lane work in a little bit, and that might be the case later when it cools down even more.
Remember, this is going to be tires versus no tires. Green flag in the air once again. Anderson Bowen gets a good jump on the outside groove.
Rocketing past our camera in turn number 1, and Nemechek thought about maybe becoming the meat in that sandwich up front, but he keeps it too wide out front, and here comes Bowen to the lead.
3 wide down the front stretch here at Pensacola. Wow, that was quick. John Hunter Nemechek to the inside now of Anderson Bowen. We look at the whole field right there because it is an interesting battle all over the place. But John Hunter Nemechek back to the front, 3 wide there just behind that.
Yeah, Chase Elliott stuck it on the outside 3 wide, and it's stuck it. That 9 car is coming to the front, so it's even strong on a short run as he goes around the outside. And look back through, double wide, basically nose to tail on our field at the Snowball Derby.
Anxious moments. You know, you have to get what you can get on the restarts. That's the best way to gain positions here, and that's what the 43 of Derek Thorne, the SRL champion, is doing right there. Derek Thorne from California having a good run here in 9th.
Daniel Hemrick, leader for a while before our last caution, moves by the 29 of Bowen. That's for second. So it looks like Hemrick going to be strong after the first round of pit stops.
Say bye-bye to Scotty Ellis. He's dropping like a rock right now. He was the leader on that restart, but he doesn't have as fresh of tires as everybody else has, and he's stuck on the outside groove.
Casey Smith, the Texas driver,
wow, look at that.
By, yeah, working the wheel, just trying to, he would love to be able to get down, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. David Rogers, the wily veteran on the inside now.
That looks like a wreck waiting to happen there, honestly, with David Rogers on the inside, the former NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series national champion.
John Hunter Nemechek leading the way, and you see action back in our field with 123 laps complete. You see the outside lane. Ellis still working hard, can't get down. Prunty makes it by.
Prunty comes by. Now here comes Brian Hoare in the red 37 out of Vermont. He's going to make it by. And the guy in the worst seat right now is Kyle Grissom. He's got tires, but he's being held up by Scotty Ellis.
Oh, man, he thought about 3 wide. Still looking in there, makes a little bit of contact, does Grissom. Still can't get down. If he gets an opening, it could be wild. He might make an opening here in a second.
Low light and left, his Twitter name. That's Clay Rogers right there, the 2006 winner in the number 2 car. He's making his way back through the field. Finally, Kyle Grissom in the 31 breaks free of Scotty Ellis.
You think there's some white knuckle driving going on inside that 83 right now?
Absolutely, for sure. Your top 10 at lap 125. We're closing in on halfway here in the Snowball Derby. John Hunter Nemechek, your leader. His best finish in the Snowball Derby, a 7th.
Daniel Hemrick running in second, Bo in third, Chase Elliott right now falling in line in fourth, and Grant Enfinger fifth.
I was wrong, read that note wrong. His dad, Joe Nemechek, his best finish here in the Snowball Derby, a 7th.
Eric Jones, Johanna Long, Dalton Sargent finds himself in 8th in the top 10 currently, and Derek Thorne, Hunter Robbins rounding out our top 10 spots with 128 laps now complete.
John Hunter up top. Daniel Hemrick has a very strong race car.
Chase Elliott there as well in the third spot. Hemrick and Elliott, if there are two drivers right now, I say these are the two cars to beat. Hemrick, which you mentioned a number of times in pre-race today, and Chase Elliott, who everyone thought would be one of the favorites today. They're second and third. They're showing strength early on.
And Hemrick, we saw this before when John Hunter Nemechek was leading. Hemrick would work that inside groove, and he finally got his nose up underneath. And take a look, they enter the corner just a little bit different. Hemrick with a very strong run here today.
Nemechek, Hemrick, and Elliott. Single file formation, nose to tail, racing off of turn 4 in front of the pack stands here at Five Flags. This race, capacity crowd on hand. All of the pre-sale tickets and reserve tickets were sold out well before the start of today's opening of the gates. Preston Peltier and Ty Majeski back in the field. Majeski falling back, one of our last chance race transfers. But Majeski just fortunate to be in this show after his qualifying effort where he looped it on the front straightaway. Majeski in qualifying came off at turn 4, spun toward the inside, went back toward the outside. Majeski in the 91 car working hard in this race, but really fortunate just to be out there at all.
Ty Majeski, an incredible run in qualifying. We'll actually take a look at that footage here real quick. Here's from Friday night. Take a look at this save by Ty Majeski. We thought he was going to put it in the wall once, twice, 3 times, but doesn't. The ARCA Midwest Tour champion winds up saving that race car, transferring in the last chance race, and now running in the Snowball Derby.
I don't think he wrote it up that way.
No,
but it worked
not.
out okay for him.
Chase Elliott, we told the story yesterday, was there in turn 1 watching that, and he had a big old smile on his face, and he said that was a piece of driving. And right here, David Rogers, he has driven those race cars for a long time, 59 years old. He has won a race in late model competition every year since 1973, but he hasn't won one yet this year. He said, if I don't do it here, the streak is broken.
Chad Finley, David Rogers, as you mentioned, and the two of Rogers on the outside lane as they race down into the third corner as they run right around the 16th position.
Stephen Nasse in the red and white 51 just behind that trio there. There's Stephen Nasse in the 51. Rogers relinquishes a spot to Clay Rogers.
Stephen Nasse really hasn't come to the front yet. Started pretty deep in the field for the Snowball Derby today. Nasse was outside of row 10 in the 20th spot, and currently Stephen Nasse mired in 20th.
Now as we approach the halfway point, look at this. This is a veteran move right there. David Rogers knew Kyle Grissom in the 31 and Stephen Nasse were banging on his back door, and he said, you know what? I don't want to get tapped here. I'm going to pull over. Something that we've seen Mark Martin do in the Sprint Cup Series.
The Mark Martin move. I think he's become known for that over his years of racing, and it won him a lot of races because he was always there at the end, always a threat, and David Rogers using a little out of the Mark Martin book there.
Back up front, John Hunter Nemechek in the 8, the 98 of Daniel Hemrick. And that paint scheme has been made famous in the Southeast years ago by Jody Ridley. And the last time the number 98 won the Snowball Derby back in 1985 when Jody Ridley got the job done.
98 of Hemrick. Following the 8 of Nemechek, you think that Hemrick and Elliott are just riding right now since it's early on a green flag run?
I think so. There's no need to honestly gain any more spots here. As now we look at Kyle Grissom and Clay Rogers duking it out going into turn number 1. 141 laps completed. And you can see Grissom just having a tough time with that car on the inside groove. That car bouncing around just a little bit. Jody Ridley, by the way, here this weekend was signing autographs this weekend here at Five Flags Speedway, and his car is actually on the midway at Five Flags.
Fun weekend. You see a lot of stars here this weekend because there's no racing that really goes on this weekend. Chance for NASCAR drivers like Chase Elliott, Eric Jones to come by and race. We've seen Kyle Busch in this race, Stephen Wallace, and others.
Chase Elliott looks to the inside of Daniel Hemrick here. Hemrick gives him the groove. That's the maturity that we see out of Daniel Hemrick. I'm telling you, he is an unknown guy that somebody is going to grab a hold of and make a superstar someday. Chase Elliott, though, you mentioned big names. Of course, he's the son of former Cup champion Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott on the spotter stand here today at Five Flags Speedway for his son.
What Chase Elliott has done in the short track racing world in a small amount of time as a youngster was amazing. They hated to see that 9 trailer pull in, did his competitors, but they knew if they could compete or beat him, they've had a good weekend. The 9 of Elliott has found his way into the second spot. Nemechek starting to work some traffic now.
This could
DJ
get difficult.
Vanderlei ahead.
And there is Bill Elliott, as a matter of fact, on the radio with his son here today at Five Flags Speedway. Bill Elliott spotting for his son, the number 9 of Chase Elliott.
I think Chase Elliott might be deciding right now that it's time to lead. Time to lead for Chase Elliott in the 9. He's following that 8 of Nemechek closely. As soon as Nemechek maybe makes a wrong move on a slower competitor, it could be time to make it. He looks to the inside in turn 3.
He tries to get that spot, but John Hunter Nemechek does not want to get trapped behind that car. I believe it's the 26 of Preston Peltier. Yes, it is. Preston Peltier, the former World Crown winner at Gresham Motorsports Park. And look at that. Wow, so close right there. Both of those cars almost getting involved in an incident with Preston Peltier. Just in front of those leaders right there is the number 2 machine, a guy that's finished second here previously, Donnie Wilson. And you can tell that car struggling on the outside groove there.
Nemechek dicing his way through slower traffic, able to make it past Donnie Wilson, who's not had a great run today, but he goes a lap down for the first time. Still has a chance to recover. Not going to be easy. As you see, 150 now on the board. We are at the halfway stage of the 47th running of the Snowball Derby.
Halfway, and this race has been honestly pretty clean. But traditionally, what we see is the middle part of the race pretty clean. When we get inching towards that 200 lap mark, that's when all bets are off.
Or 250 to 300.
Here's your top 10 at halfway. John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Elliott, Daniel Hemrick, Grant Enfinger. What a great run for Grant Enfinger coming up through the field here today. And Eric Jones, your top 5.
Johanna Long still in the 6th spot. Derek Thorne running 7th. Anderson Bowen in 8th. Dalton Sargent in the 9th spot.
Battle for the lead right there. There's Chase Elliott on the bottom using the lap car as a pick. He gets to the lead in front of the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek as they move their way by the 4 of Kyle Plott.
So Elliott found his chance. It was when they caught the 4 of Plott. He actually lost some ground when they passed the first few lap cars. Right there, he made the move when they caught a couple of others, and now he finds himself boxed in. Steve Dorr in the 10. The 83, there's Scotty Ellis, who was our leader when we went back to green on this last restart.
He's going to go a lap down. Steve Dorr in the race car engineering number 10. Just in front of that is Logan Boyette as well. So Chase Elliott starting to really put some people a lap down. And we talked about the ill handling of Donnie Wilson. He's on pit road with that 2 machine right now, making some changes to that car, but crew members throwing their hands up in the air in frustration. We'll find out what's going on with Donnie Wilson.
So an unfortunate break for Wilson in the 2, and Elliott right on the rear bumper of Logan Boyette says, I need some room. I'm coming through. You're going a lap down, son. The 11 trying to give some room now, and does. 51 TV coverage of the 47th Annual Snowball Derby, presented in part by QA1. QA1 specializes in providing a variety of shocks, rod-ends, spherical bearings, and low-friction ball joints to meet and exceed all of your racing needs. For more information, call 800-721-7761 or visit QA1.net today. And by Progressive Racing Engines. Progressive Racing Engines has been in business and in the same location for 22 years, specializing in circle track, drag, marine, road race, dirt, and more. Learn more at ProgressiveRacingEngines.com.
Pretty interesting watching this race now. 158 laps in the books. Chase Elliott, your leader, Last year he dominated this race, but I want to talk about how close this competition has been all weekend long. On Friday night, we had qualifying here for the Snowball Derby. $1,500 on the line. Hunter Robbins got that, but the qualifying was close to lock in the top 30, only a difference of 0.2 of a second in the first 30 spots.
It is amazing when you look at the field, but the more cars you get, I guess the tougher it is to get in and the tighter that gap is between, but an amazing tight gap in our top 30s. You see Daniel Hemrick, our third place competitor, kind of riding by himself now.
While we look at Daniel Hemrick there, I want to remind folks of where some other people are running in the running order right now on the racetrack. Dalton Sargent in the 5 car is 11th. Augie Grill 12th. Jeff Jaquette 13th. Casey Smith 14th. And rounding out the top 15, Dennis Prunty.
16th, Kyle Grissom. Stephen Nasse finds himself in 17th. Clay Rogers currently running 18th. Corey LaJoy 19th, and David Rogers is 20th.
21st is Mark Krause, Steve Dorer 22nd, Logan Boyette 23rd, Scotty Ellis 24th, and Chad Finley 25th.
We have completed in this race 162 laps, just a few caution periods so far, only one round of pit stops really to this point.
Just got a report from pit road by some of our fine people down there. Donnie Wilson, they think they ran over something and had a slow leak in that left rear tire. 3 wide coming off of turn number 2. Preston Peltier, he has not been up to snuff in that 26 car. Hunter Robbins, the pole sitter, goes around him. Hunter Robbins currently running 8th.
This race kind of playing out as you expected to see it play out at this point.
It is, honestly, as we see Brian Hoare in the red number 37 go a lap down. He was just tickled to be in the show. He told me he was in tears after he qualified on Friday and locked himself into the top 30.
We talked about it during the qualifying efforts on Friday night, but so much emotion on pit road, just missing by a 10th or making it in by a couple of thousandths of a second. So big, and you see the reaction on the drivers' faces when they pull to pit road.
The quiet man right now, that 51 car of Eric Jones, he's running 5th. Eric Jones qualified 10th for the big dance here today. Just behind that, take a look at the 43 of Derek Thorne. A couple years ago, Derek Thorne came to this race, flipped his race car, crashed another time, replaced the body on the car, and still came back to run the Snowball Derby. Last year, he came back for a second time, finished in the top 10. His objective here today is to stay in the top 15. He said, if I can do that, I need to keep all fenders on the car, and if I'm there in the last 25, he says, I'll be very tough to beat.
All fenders on the car and all tires on the ground.
Yes.
That's the key for Derek Thorne.
Absolutely.
You know, we're 168 laps into this race, and we still have 20 drivers on the lead lap, and we've had some great long green flag runs.
Impressive, and both of these guys pretty impressive here today. The 43 of Derek Thorne running 7th, but here comes Hunter Robbins trying to rebound after fading a little bit earlier on in this event. Your pole sitter for the Snowball Derby.
Hunter Robbins, Derek Thorne, nose to tail. It looks like Robbins maybe being held up a little bit by Derek Thorne in that 7th spot, but Robbins, I think maybe some adjustments took place on that round of pit stops, giving him a better car on the longer runs. He kind of faded into the field and then solidified a 10th place standing, I think, right before the last caution. Back to our leader, Chase Elliott. And low on the front straightaway as Donnie Wilson gets around them. Chase Elliott, maybe problems for our race leader.
Fresh tires for Donnie Wilson, though. Remember, He just pitted. He had that left rear flat or tire going down, so tires mean so much here.
Just strange to see anyone pass the 9.
Absolutely. And there's some more battles around the racetrack. They all seem to center around the 26 of Preston Peltier, the 99 of Casey Smith, the 11 of Logan Boyette, the 42 of Dennis Prunty. Man, it was so disappointing to see him this year at the Slinger Nationals dominate that race, and then with just a couple laps to go, mechanical failure for that 42. And he loses the race. The 29 of Jeff Jaquette. Jaquette currently running 15th on the racetrack with Chad Finley just behind him. That's a cool shot right there of the crews watching things as this race progresses here at Pensacola.
The crew is going to be so important later on. Right now it's all about who's behind the wheel, but when they make those big money pit stops late in the race, it's going to be crucial. Logan Boyette running the low lane. Logan Boyette just hangs on to it, and that Boyette's number 11 as he nearly spun coming off of turn 4. Stephen Nasse runs to the outside as Chase Elliott who gave me a little scare earlier. I thought he was having some big issues, and then realized he didn't quite have the fresh rubbers that the 2 did.
And just smart racing, honestly. He knows the 2's coming up on him. I'm sure Bill, his dad, is telling him, listen, a guy just pitted for tires. He's coming up on you. Moved over and let him by, and that was the smart thing to do for a young racer. Chase Elliott, is he 19 now? I think he's 19. He just had a birthday on November 28th. 18-year-old NASCAR Nationwide Series champion, but now 19 years old. The Chase Elliott crew reporting from pit road that the car is a little bit loose, but they will change actually later on in this race, and they believe as the sun sets, it's going to get much better. They're going to leave that car alone on the next pit stop. But this guy right here has had an incredible run. Grant Enfinger, we talked about his dominating performances in the ARCA Racing Series this year. He started 29th. Grant Enfinger is running 4th. And right now he's riding more than going after a victory here. He wants to be in the top 5, and if he gets there to the end of the race, then he can go after that big trophy.
He normally puts himself in a good position. He's so good in long-lapped races. We've seen it with the ARCA Racing Series. We've seen it in Snowball Derby type races. And Grant Enfinger finds himself in 4th after a subpar qualifying run earlier this weekend.
Grant Enfinger has finished 2nd twice here at the Snowball Derby. The 29-year-old Alabama driver.
I have to say it was so strange not to go talk to Grant Enfinger this weekend about our top 10 audio and video that we get for the starting lineup. Every year I get to work with Grant Enfinger, but this year he was not in the top 10.
That was really cool. A great job, by the way. There is Corey LaJoie atop the pit box here for Corey LaJoie. Rob Fuller is on that team. Tony Uri Jr., Jeff Foltz, the crew chief. All part of that LFR chassis team that Rob Fuller owns. And LaJoie almost putting the bumper to the 51 of Stephen Nasse out of Pinellas Park, Florida.
Stephen Nasse riding around in the 51 car here at the Five Flags Speedway in 17th position. LaJoie finds himself in 18th. Those drivers are on the lead lap.
Whoa, look at that. A little bobble there. I believe that was the 2 of DJ Vanderlei. Man, you saw that car just wiggle coming off the corner. No, it's Donnie Wilson. Donnie Wilson, who just put on tires, really wiggling there. But there is that 07 of Corey LaJoie. LaJoie hoping for a great run here today, but not exactly having the run that he would want to have on this racetrack. He's currently 18th.
Preston Peltier has been a TV hog today. He's getting plenty of action, and honestly, just running that outside lane, the car must not like the inside groove.
He's got to pay for those tires, okay? It was funny. My wife Angie and I went on pit road.